Hello my friends, so I welcome you in the love and the light of the one infinite creator. And in today's session I have channeled Archangel Metatron or Metatron Magnetic Consciousness to query about certain things which many of you had voted on my community post on this channel. And specifically in today's session I have queried mostly about three things in particular. One of the things was about what is the meaning of the ringing of the ears. What is the spiritual meaning of the ringing of the ears? Now this session was very helpful because I've received many comments, many emails from many of you who were asking about what is the meaning of the ringing of the ears, right? And in today's session Metatron has given us what it actually means. And when our ears are ringing, what we need to do. So if we do that thing at that time, then we are able to receive some information. So of course this is explained in the session in detail. And the other thing which I have asked about is how can distance healing be done? Now one of the things that I always was fascinated with was the fact that there were some people who were able to heal other people from a distance. Now I have seen many people do this. I have some friends who even do this, they do distance healing via the method of Reiki and other methods they use, and it has worked. So I have seen that working. So I wanted to know what is the how does it work? How is it possible to heal someone who is not physically present before you? And this was explained very beautifully, so you will understand how to use it. If you want to use it on someone, if you want to heal someone, this session is really useful for you. The other thing they have said in the session is about, they have told a story about an Atlantean, the story about a being from Atlantis and how that entity was able to overcome all fear from the life. So this was pretty much really good, because I found that when I was listening to the session, I found that even I had some fears in my mind. My mind, Metatron says, thoughts dark web, it's in our mind and it creates fear. So the method was really useful to let go of fear and to just not have any fear, to not let fear affect you. So this session has that information, and I think you all will love the session. So before I start the session, I want to say big thank you to all of you for liking the video, which allows it to reach to more people who need it at this time. In a spiritual way, they may need the message. So thank you so much, and here is the session. Enjoy it, my friends.
I am Metatron Magnetic Consciousness now, in connection through the Divine Grid Programmer's love and light through this channel, who has requested information pertaining to many aspects of which I, as Metatron, would like to address and share with you my thoughts using the language of your planetary sphere to address each of you divine grid programmers. We, as the beings from the angelic realm, are always observing the planetary sphere, and we can sense that there is a large number of people who are changing towards the vibrations of higher love for the universal divine grid programmer which lies within each of you. Once activated, will allow you to experience a higher level of love. That amount of love and delight will then program yourself to become more oriented towards being more love-like, as the universal divine grid programmer has provided each one of you with this pathway to unite with the love within yourself. However, there are those upon the planet who are using the methods of love for spreading fear indirected as love, and there are those upon the planet who do not use any type of discernment when listening to many messages, and we as the angelic beings and the beings from our vibration would like to suggest that today I, as Archangel Metatron, as known by your people, is communicating and would request each one of you to choose the types of thoughts you would want to listen inside your minds and let go of the types of thoughts which do not align with your inner vibration. Because each one of you are the love light childs of the universal divine grid programmer. And because of this, each one of you has been granted by the universal divine grid programmer the power to choose the type of vibration you will adhere to, as the type of vibration you link to will have a further implication of that vibration moving outwards in the world and creating a chain reaction which will allow the other people of your planetary sphere to also vibrate at a similar level. This is the type of vibration effect which has been spotted upon your planetary sphere. People of a similar vibration are seen together, working on common tasks with same vibration. Therefore, I, as Metatron, upon scanning this channel's vibration, would like to now address the first query, which pertains to what is the meaning behind the ringing of your ears in a spiritual sense. We, as the angelic beings, would like to share with you our knowledge, and I, Metatron, would like to state that the people of your planet who are highly evolved souls usually have this experience of ear ringing, which is a signifying factor which signals the spiritual evolution of such an entity. In fact, the ringing of the ears, whether it be the left or the right, is dependent upon the type of information which an entity is listening to. For the ringing of the left ear signifies that the critical analytical portion of the mind needs to be silenced, and a small period of silence to be induced inside the mind, body, and the spirit of such an entity would allow for higher spiritual knowledge to awaken. Whereas, on the other hand, the ringing on the right side of the ear signifies that there are many awakening or knowledge of spiritual essence which is rising inside its mind. However, this also does not rule out the possibility of a physical problem of your ears, as there are many people who are also suffering from other ailments as known by your people upon your planet. Hence, every one of you, divine grid programmers, love childs, must be aware that if you do not have any such physical ailments, then this is a signaling mechanism which is used from the spiritual realms to message and send the message about the type of vibration you are tuning into. The ringing of the ear signifies that your pineal gland is receiving information from higher densities, such as the information which will allow you to obtain higher amounts of knowledge at a faster time. If your ears are ringing at the current time, then it is vitally important to understand that the ringing of the ears signifies that you have messages not only from this dimension but from other dimensions, and that your pineal gland should be activated. The process of activation can be followed by the balancing of your lower chakras and a moment of silence which can be stretched out to longer moments, since there is only this moment. As many of you, love childs of the universal divine grid programmer, have experienced, each moment is filled with love and light, and each moment, if you are aware of your inner consciousness, which is your true self, you can then become fully oriented towards receiving such knowledge. The other type of ear ringing which you may feel upon your planetary sphere is the ringing of both the ears at the same time, which may feel like a clogged sensation upon your ears. Such type of experience signifies that you are being physically and in a psychic manner being attacked by other entities who do not desire you to awaken your pineal gland. Hence, the blockage can be felt as a suffocation inside your ears, which signifies that a psychic attack is underway. In such a case, many of the people of your planet should realize that the best way for defense against such psychic attacks would be to, firstly, protect your physical body using love and light exposed water, and keep your thoughts in the positive vibration, which will allow only the positive vibratory rhythms to affect your physical body. Now we are addressing the other query which this channel has placed with regards to distance healing. We, as the angelic beings, and I as Archangel Metatron, would like to share with you my knowledge regarding this aspect. Since the people of your planets are always learning many new lessons, and since the people of your planet are always trying new things, it is time for each one of you to realize that each of you is consciousness, which once you are aware of can be used for the purpose of healing. Specifically, the purpose of distance healing can be achieved via the knowledge that each one of you is a consciousness living in a bodily vehicle, having the experience of the illusion which was programmed by your own self for learning the lessons of love and light and to become more like the universal divine grid programmer. Since the thought's dark web, which have grasped many of your people into its hands, many a times prevents you from obtaining the vibration of love and light, the pure vibration which is required for you to attain distance healing. Distance healing can be performed once you are able to connect with the universal divine grid programmer's consciousness. This is done primarily when you are able to enter a period of silence and your consciousness begins to merge with the higher universal divine grid programmer's consciousness, which then allows this type of level of love and light to be exposed upon any other entity who is also a consciousness, since on the realm of consciousness there is no time, as time is only present in terms of mind, body, and spirit complex. Therefore, I as Metatron would like to suggest a method for distance healing, which is to firstly enter into the silence using meditation or any other methods. This can also be done under conscious lucid dreaming, wherein the entity is able to enter a state of silence of the mind, and once the silence of the mind is attained, such an entity is able to then connect with the one universal love and light divine consciousness, which can then allow such universal divine grid consciousness to provide a deeper awakening, and the connection with the universal divine grid programmer shall be allowed to share the message and the vibration of healing through time-space. since from that realm all possibilities exist and all healings can be done. This process can be used to heal other entities by using the love and light, and the process of connection with the other realms of healing the divine, universal grid programmer's love light can be spread across time-space to heal any entity desired. I, as Archangel Metatron, would like to now share with you an anecdote which will assist the people of your planetary sphere to let go of fear that lies within each one of you. Since the thought's dark web has throughout the eons of existence, not only on the Earth planet, but also during the existence in the Atlantean times, has created havoc. Since the thought's dark web works on the factor of critical analysis and also works on the factor of allowing a vibratory mismatch between the energies of a universal divine grid programmer, and provides a type of reasoning to stop each one of you from attaining the higher will of the universal divine grid programmer. Once upon a time in the lands of Atlantis, there was an entity known as Alamar. This entity was in the process of transition to the fourth density. However, it was also subdued by fear, like the people of your planet who experience fear in large number. Since the fear this entity felt was primarily composed of the fear created by the thought's dark web, which takes entities into the past and the future instead of keeping entities in the present moment, wherein all connection with the universal divine grid programmer is present and available. Since this is how the thought's dark web operates, by disattaching the entity into the past or the future, it was able to create moments within its consciousness which were of a fearful nature. It used to imagine fearful future, things going wrong, etc. in its mind complex, and it would remember the past problems and the past situations it had faced, which had allowed it to experience large number of fear. However, this entity, in order to let go of fear completely, was guided by a fourth density wanderer who had incarnated on the lands of Atlantis. This fourth density wanderer had given a simple method, and that is the method of questioning your thoughts and comparing your fear. The method is simply to compare each of your fears with death or the end of your life. And once you are able to compare your fears with death or the end of your life, each of you will begin to realize that you are now currently alive, healthy, and you have all possibilities available to you. Hence, no situation cannot be changed. Since you are alive, breathing, and have the inflow of cosmic energies of the universal divine grid programmer, you can create changes. You can create miracles in your life, as everything is possible in this reality. However, the thought's dark web may confuse you and make you believe that it may perceive that the reality is fixed and cannot be changed, or it may take a large number of time to change. However, this is not true, as I, as Metatron, must state that the entity in the lands of Atlantis used this method with great success, and it was able to graduate into the vibration of fourth density in that timeline. Hence, I, as Metatron, disconnect now in the love light of the universal divine grid programmer. Turn to the mountain of light within your own self. See you later.
So like I have said before, they have talked about, like 3 things in particular in the session. And one of the things they talked about is the meaning of ringing of the ears. Now, Metatron said that the ringing of the ears usually happens when it happens with evolved souls. Okay, now souls who are spiritually evolved. And I think what they said was, if your ears are ringing and if you do not have any physical ailments and stuff like that, then you are receiving some information and you are at the position to enter into a higher vibration. Now how that works, it is you have a way of communicating with the higher dimensions using your pineal gland. Since your pineal gland is activating, it creates some type of ringing in your ears. It is a signaling mechanism which I think is used to give signals to you that you are ready to receive information from higher realms, higher spiritual knowledge. And many a times it just requires that you become aware of the silence within yourself. You must be able to enter the silence of your mind, and you must be able to silence your mind to receive such information, because we all know that silence of the mind is one of the most powerful things. And I think meditation will help you do that, or even when you are just sleeping, if you don't have any thoughts, just have the silence, that will allow you to connect with the higher dimensions, and then you will be able to receive the vibration or the information, whatever is about to come through you. Okay, so this was one of the things I learned. The other thing about the ringing of the ears, which was stated, is if you feel like both of your ears are ringing and it feels as if something is blocking your ears, then it's probably a psychic attack from some entity who is trying to stop you from receiving such higher knowledge. Okay, so in that case you need to protect yourself, which is what they said, and the best way to protect yourself is via using love light water. Okay, you can use love light water to protect yourself more in that case. The other thing they talked about was about distance healing. Now one of the things that I found really fascinating about this aspect was Metatron said that we are all consciousness, even though we are inside a body. So for consciousness there is no time and there is no space. So consciousness, I think they said, is everywhere. Okay, and once you are able to enter into meditative state or enter into some type of silence, or practice some type of silence, and then you are able to take your consciousness and merge yourself with the other consciousness, with the universal consciousness, I think. Okay, then you will have the ability to send healing to anyone. Since they are also consciousness, they are available at time-space realm, wherein we don't have any time like we have here. In that place everything is available instantly. So at that time you can send healing energy to the person and it will affect them. Okay, so this is, I believe, maybe considered as a breakdown, or how it works, as a scientific explanation of how it works is, in the time-space realm, you as a consciousness enter there, and then you connect with the universal consciousness, which then will allow you to send healing energies to someone who is also a consciousness in essence. Okay, all of us are consciousness in a physical body, just having this experience in this illusion, as stated. The other thing which I found really interesting was the story of a being from Atlantis. Now this was really good because this entity from Atlantis was having a lot of fear. Like we also have human beings, I also have fears, because my mind sometimes is thinking about the future, thinking about what may happen tomorrow, or what may happen or what has happened yesterday, right? Thinking about the past and the future. It has caused many of us to develop fears within ourselves, and this is in essence the thought's dark web, as stated by Metatron. And the best way to overcome your fear is to compare it with death. So for example, if I have a fear of just for example, what if what if my YouTube channel gets deleted, right? So if I have that fear, so then what I do is I compare it with being dead, or compare it with death. So I might say, oh, but I'm alive, I'm breathing, and I'm alive, I'm breathing, I'm thankful, so anything is possible, so nothing will happen. Okay, everything is going good. So if you compare your fears with death, and then you will realize that everything is possible. This is what Metatron said. If you are alive, if you are breathing, then anything is possible in the world. And the best way to let go of the fears Other fears, they are normal, okay, but the fear of death, I believe, is the highest fear we have. So in comparison to this fear of death, the other fears are nothing, right? Like, they're just like low level fears, they just disappear. So yeah, this was a very useful session for me, and I hope all of you also learned something from the sessions. And I want to say big thank you to all of you for watching the video and liking the video. And also I want to say big thank you to all of you for supporting me on my Patreon, where I'm sharing sessions, many of the sessions which I cannot share on YouTube. And also there are some sessions which I share on a daily basis to help awakening of the human consciousness more. And also I want to say big thank you to all of you for sending requests to my email for past life sessions, which I'm doing when I'm free, and I'm helping people out to find about their soul name, their past lives, and the purpose of this incarnation. So with that being said, I want to say thank you all for watching this video, and until next time. And before I go, you may want to watch this video which may be related to this topic, so I think you will enjoy it. Thank you, my friends.